He's been everywhere and done it all. Steve Davis, world #1 for 7 years running before the start of the Hendry era. A record 28 ranking titles between 81 and 95. Today, Steve Davis goes for his 3rd Benson & Hedges Masters. He plays Ronnie O'Sullivan, still only 21, 18 years younger than Davis. He's made such a big impact in such a short time. The youngest winner of a ranking event. And this is his 3rd consecutive Wembley final. He's got this far in style.
Flat and really considering because I didn't play that well, but you know I got over the line. I had a century break in that one, and no, it was a nice one to get off the mark with. Second round I played Stephen Hendry. Hard match. I should have lost it really. He was ahead in a lot of frames, but I was just kept clearing up to nick frames on the pink and black. So winning matches like that, you know, gets you tuned in and makes you respect the game and think, well, I'm lucky to be here, maybe, and takes the pressure off a little bit. Semi-finals, played Nigel Bond. Again, never played to the top of my form, but got through the match and just pleased to be in the final.
If you're going to sort of do damage to top-class players, you mustn't show too many signs of weakness, and you've got to show your strengths as and when you get the chances. And I did that against Alan, and was, even though I think I was 4-3 behind, I was there and off the mark from an early stage in the match, so I was feeling quite happy with my own game. I'm a big fan of Peter Evans. I think he's great for snooker, and he's a great shot maker, a shot getter, and he's got bags of guts and all things I think are good qualities in snooker players. So I was looking forward to the match. I think the confidence I got from playing Alan and getting over the line there helped me. And I matched Peter most of the game, frame for frame. I think he got off to a 2-0 start, but I got back to 2-all, and then it was ding-dong for a while. And by the end of the match, I was getting stronger. 6-1 certainly wasn't a reflection on who got in amongst the balls first, because I think probably nearly every frame Ken was in amongst the balls first, from what I remember about the game. But, you know, the snooker is the person who sort of has the most points on the board at the end of every frame, not at the start. So, for that reason, I was very proud last night. I thought I played some of the best snooker I've perhaps ever played.
I remember years ago, I just used to watch Steve Davis and used to idolise him, and I remember meeting him when I was like 10 years of age, and I was like just totally gobsmacked, and now I could be playing him in a final, you know, so it's an unbelievable feeling, really.
I remember sitting in a Chinese restaurant in Ilford, Ganshill actually, many years ago, and Ronnie's father came in with a little kid with a snooker cue that was taller and higher than him. The cue case was up here, and I was stuffing Chinese food down my face as fast as I can, having a glass of white wine, and Ronnie's dad said, he's going to be good one day, Steve, like, a big fan of yours, and this little guy went, oh yeah, like this little kid there, like 10 years, he's just made 100 break. I went, yeah, very nice, you know. And I think we've got a photograph of when he was that small somewhere at home, or he's got it, I'm not too sure. So there is a bit of an age difference, only a little bit.
Yes, the history certainly belongs to Davis. He turned professional way back in 1978. He'll be 40 in August. Last season, he was still #2 in the world. He's now #10. He won his first Masters in 1982, beating Terry Griffiths. He won it again in 1988, 9-0 over Mike Hallett, the only final whitewash in the 22 years. He's in his 17th B&H Masters in a row. That's a record. He's 6 times world and 6 times UK champion. And this week at Wembley, showing all the old Davis qualities. Ronnie O'Sullivan, the contrast. Turned professional in 1992, still only 21. Last season, he was #3 in the world. He's dropped to 8, but as you can see, he's coming right back up again. He won the title here in '95, beating John Higgins. He was runner-up last year, beaten by Stephen Hendry. The '93 United Kingdom champion and the 1994 British Open champion. Well, all that is history. This is the present. A very warm welcome here to Wembley Conference Centre for this final. As you can see, it's a total sellout. 2,500 tickets sold for this afternoon, and that's a record for any final in the 23 years of the B&H Masters. And you at home, as I say, welcome. You've got the best seat in the house. The coverage of this final throughout the day here live. We will see it all right to the last moment tonight when the famous trophy is presented and a cheque for £135,000 to the winner. The best of 19 frames throughout the day. Well, the players at the moment having the last bit of moment of relaxation. They're quite away from here, down through the corridors into their dressing rooms, so I think it's about time we brought them in and let this great crowd cheer them on. Outside, there they go, dressing rooms open. Ronnie. Well, at least they're both there, thank goodness. Fair bet, I think, that Ronnie's had a large plate of sandwiches just about 10 minutes ago. Steve Davis probably had 2 cups of tea. Into part 2 of the walkway, and they'll come to the entrance here of the playing arena, and John Street, the referee, will be there, and then they will toss. Tremendous matches they both had. Steve Davis with the marathon that started on the Tuesday and finished on the Wednesday, and against Alan McManus. It wasn't exactly a sprint against Peter Ebdon either. The toss for a break-off or choice. One who wins nearly takes it. So they wait. John Street will tell us when he comes in. So we'll welcome now the players to this packed house. And first of all, will you welcome twice winner of the Masters in the 80s, Steve Davis. That's the sort of reception, the shots the players are going to get. It's what we're calling a dream final. I know it's a dream for Steve Davis to be back. It's a dream for Ronnie to be back in. So will you welcome Ronnie O'Sullivan? So, the players and John Street, the referee, just coming into the arena. A special moment for John Street. He is officiating. Yes, give him a round of applause. John is officiating in his 21st Benson and Hedges, and in fact, this will be his last televised snooker tournament, so you should know it all by now. So John Street ready, the picture's being taken. If anybody thinks they get a picture of Steve Davis with his hand on the trophy, they won't. He's never done it in his playing career. He said, I'll wait until I win. So we are just about ready. John Street removing the trophy. As I say, the best of 19 frames this afternoon and this evening. And the first bit of commentary on the match will come from Dennis Taylor and Ray Edmonds. Sit back, enjoy it. I think it's going to be a great final. Thank you very much.
The stage set in this wonderful venue.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
For
First
final
frame, Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
Between Steve Davis and Ronnie O'Sullivan, both Londoners, of course. So it'll be interesting to see which way the crowd goes today. We're always a little biased towards the London player. With 2 of them, there's going to be a lot of cheering. And of course the interest, Dennis, is going to be the contrast in styles.
Yes, of course they do know each other's game so well. They have practiced together. But this is totally different. Major final. Well, that was pretty close there. And certainly no problem with the cue action. But can he keep this young man at bay?
Well, Steve checked that there wasn't a red to the left middle. I think the pink's in the way. The other one will go, but it's a finer cut.
Probably the best tactician that we've ever had in the game, Steve Davis. But Ronnie's got quite a good safety game, and it's needed. I'm not quite sure if Steve's got the angle to come off the cushion there just above the middle pocket and get to that red. He might have to go into the back of the reds. We'll see.
Touching ball.
Steve hitting that one far too thickly, and all the pace out of the cue ball has left Ronnie a good chance.
One.
And I do really think it's important for Ronnie to get off to a good start today, not get bogged down by Steve's superior tactical play.
Four.
One of those two reds is fairly close to the black spot.
Five.
So I think the red that's just above the black will still pot after this.
Twelve.
Plenty of room there.
13. $20. $21. 26. 27. 32. 33.
Just looking there was two reds. Ronnie had a glance at it. It might just be a plant into the right corner pocket. The one just behind the pink onto another. Not quite sure. Might just be able to see that shortly.
38.
And there you go. It's looks as if it's on.
39. 45. 46.
'Just over 3 minutes so far. Making a
53.
plus 50 break.
54.
Oh, and that's perfect into the reds.
61. 62.
Well, Ray, this is an incredible start from Ronnie O'Sullivan.
68.
The
69.
referee only just time to spot the colour before Ronnie potted the red.
Well,
75.
that's, virtually enough to take the opening frame.
76.
Wonderful start for this young man.
'83.
And in the opening frame of this best of
84.
19 final, the high break of the tournament so far at risk.
91.
Mark
92.
Williams holds the highest one at 115. And there you see possible 134 to set a target
99.
for a £15,000 prize for that.
100.
Well, he just got the wrong side of the blue, but immediately got down and potted the yellow.
102.
I thought it was over the pocket.
104.
I'm sure
107.
Mark Williams will be sitting at home watching this, and he'll be seeing his £15,000 disappear very shortly.
111.
What a start.
116.
Well,
116 on
he
O'Sullivan.
just achieved the high break prize with 116. Steve Davis couldn't do a thing about that. So the young pretender, Ronnie O'Sullivan, takes the opening frame. And truly cueing like a dream. He's played pretty well this week, but I think he's probably timing the ball there as well as we've seen him this week, Dennis. Never looked in trouble.
Yes, what a great confidence booster for Ronnie to play so well in the opening frame. And as you say, his cue action was superb there. And what a problem for Steve Davis. That'll give him something to think about. But he's seen it all before. He'll know exactly what he's got to do. He knows he can outplay Ronnie at the tactical side of the game, but you can't do anything about a player when he's in the balls and just doesn't miss.
Yes, I think against Ken Doherty he played very well yesterday, but to be fair, Ken did miss his chances and didn't put any pressure on Steve. But that opening visit from Ronnie has really opened things up, and Steve's got something to put his mind to. But there's no cleverer mind in snooker than
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The second
Davis.
frame, Steve Davis to break.
Well, a great reply from Ronnie. There is probably a line through to this red to the right corner. It looks pretty straight. And the blacks are waiting, but should he miss it, a lot of reds are waiting Ronnie.
Yes, against a lot of players, Steve would take this on. He may still do that. He's got a slight angle on it, so he might be able to take it on and take the cue ball back towards the bulk end of the table. He knows only too well if he takes it on, tries to hold for the black and misses it, he'll be able to go and sit down for a while.
One.
Pretty well forced to have a go at that red, and committed himself to getting on the black, giving himself every chance of potting it, but could well cost him something here.
Yeah, the black spot is occupied, but it won't be too far off its spot, as near as possible to that red in a direct line behind the spot. But it means the red is tied up.
8.
The black is potable into the corner pockets, but the red is certainly not.
Nine. Eleven. Twelve. 19.
Now this time a chance to nudge that red away from the black spot. But I think the fact that John Street had to take a few moments to get the black on its spot just delayed Ronnie, and
28.
he's playing at a lovely pace at the moment. Not express fast, but not wasting time either. And when he is in this mood,
35.
it looks as if he's never going to miss one.
$36. $43.
Steve sitting there in admiration, but
44.
this to go on for too long.
$51. 52.
And that was interesting. The referee stood perfectly still there, even though he was still in the line of fire for Ronnie, but Ronnie was down on the shot, so the ref just froze where he was. He's certainly testing the old nerve of John Street here. Pink spot tied up, so he's got to get as close to that red in a direct line towards the black.
58. $59.
Well, he might even... Well, there's two loose reds, so he wants to secure the frame first.
$66. 67.
Wow, this is amazing stuff.
72. 73.
And if he gets the cannon right into the three reds, could be another century break.
$78. 79.
Well, this virtually packed auditorium
86.
want to applaud, but Ronnie is playing position
87.
so well that he's not having to pull out anything spectacular. But there'll be a burst in a few moments.
93. 94.
Well, back-to-back centuries to open
102.
this first session. Wonderful snooker.
108. 110.
He took the lead for the high break prize in the first frame at his first visit, or scoring visit.
113.
And could well set a higher target here. Well, Ronnie is up to do that. Is the Browning. He's walked away. He had one fluke to keep the break going.
113. Ronnie
But
O'Sullivan.
a great roar of applause from this audience. Magnificent stuff from Ronnie O'Sullivan. He's not given Steve a chance. 2-0 to the young man.
Well, they call him the Rocket, don't they? My goodness, Steve Davis must be wondering if he's going to sit in the chair all afternoon. Look at this centuries board at the moment. There's Ronnie going in, as Ray was saying, with that 116 for openers. 113, I can't remember a final starting with 2 centuries in a row like that, and he's also got a 108 as well. But only that number so far in this 23rd Benson Hedges Masters. The best one last year was 144. There has been 147, Kirk Stevens in 84. John Virgil sitting here with me. John, I mean, what a start. What do you do against that?
It's unbelievable. Great natural talent. I don't know what Steve's got to do at the moment. He's got to not miss, and he hasn't had a chance.
Well, he's got to get to the table first.
He's got to get to the table, and it's going to be very difficult. I mean, it's just a genius at work, that.
I mean, Ronnie was saying of his 2 previous matches, even though he'd beaten Stephen Hendry, he wasn't happy with his play. He wasn't that happy in the next one either. I said he was saving it all for Sunday. And he did say he wanted to play Steve Davis. So.
Yeah, I think that's the key. I think, as he said to you last night, he wanted to play Steve, and he's up for it. And, well, so far, it's just unbelievable snooker.
Thank you.
So just reminding you, the first
Thank you, ladies and
10
gentlemen.
in this final, and this house really buzzing here, I can tell
Ronnie
you.
O'Sullivan to break.
You probably are at home. 2-0 to Ronnie, and here he is back at the table. Don't blink.
Yes, and this will be putting a bit of pressure on Steve Davis's cue action. And there's a tempting red here to the left corner. But again, when you've got a battering ram following you, it just makes these pots that much more difficult. But he's up to it. Wonderful shot, Dennis.
Well, I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Well, 4.
The thing about
Ronnie
that,
O'Sullivan.
Ray, was he didn't study this time. He got straight down. He'd made his mind up. He was going for the red, and to knock the yellow in, well, he could play that a million times and not do it. Ronnie putting Steve back in again, as he can do.
Yes, he can get through clearly to the red to the right. It looks as if he can't, but he can. There's no free ball there. The referee had a good look. So he's got a tricky safety shot here. You get it at big sporting occasions, exhibitionist, young lady streaking. It brought the crowd to life, as it were. A good laugh, but really it's very off-putting for the players.
And Ronnie having a glass of water, and I think he needs it. But he see.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Ronnie's smiling, but covered John Street's eyes, and that really brought a smile from Steve Davis.
So back-to-back centuries are first in a major final. I think that's the first streaker, and let's hope it's the
Thank
last.
you. Be quiet down now, please. Thank you.
Ronnie's still having a good laugh, but it didn't stop him playing a near perfect safety shot. And Steve needs a good reply. Well, he was in trouble. I think he may well have got away with that. He certainly hasn't left Ronnie any easy pot, as far as I can see.
Yeah.
Well, Ronnie's getting the extension out. It's a straightforward safety shot off a couple of other reds, so maybe he's going to try and snick this one in. It's a very thin contact. But the mood he's in, he probably wants to take anything on, and now where's the cue ball going? He's not snookered, but I don't think he can get through to the red that's over the corner pocket. That's what's facing Steve Davis. Could come off the cushion, try and flick the red in. Very risky. He can't really leave that red over the pocket, though. Maybe just come off the side cushion and play a little delicate safety shot. Well, the way he's shaping up, it's a plant he's going for. Well, to pull that shot off, Ray, cue action had to be absolutely perfect.
Lots of distance between the reds, no margin of error. And it could be that Steve has perhaps decided that if he gets a half chance, he's got to take it on because of the scoring power of Ronnie. And of course, Steve, if he does get in an attacking move, we've seen this before.
3.
He really can build breaks very quickly, but haven't seen it as much lately in his play.
Yeah, he's very disappointed with that. He's left himself with a choice of a very difficult green, or just a safety shot off the yellow back to the bulk cushion.
Steve Davis.
Playing against Steve Davis in the mid-80s when he was dominating the game, the only way you could beat him was to match him at the safety side of the game. Ronnie's matching him for safety, but some of the pots he's pulling out is quite extraordinary. I think that baffles Steve, the red going in there.
Ronnie had never even looked to the red, just
Ronnie
placed a
O'Sullivan.
drop on the pink. He mustn't get overconfident against Steve. And I'm sure that wasn't the reason there, just complete lapse.
One.
Steve purposely taking the yellow there because it does clear the path for the pink into the same pocket.
3.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the pink spot's occupied though, Dennis, and if he does play for the pink, it's going to go on the black spot and be out of commission there, so he may well go back for the blue a couple of times.
4.
But he's just not gone far enough for ease of getting close to the next red.
So it looks as if he's still going to take the pink on, but and as you mentioned, Ray, pink going
10.
onto the black spot, so pink and black out of commission.
11.
He's got to be very precise now with his positional play. Got to get on the red in such a way as to be able to get up for the blue. Well, that could be
16.
very unfortunate. I'm not sure if he can get through to the reds. Yeah, I think the inside of those two reds pots. Oh, it's in the middle pocket.
Well, 16, Steve Davis. 4, Ronnie O'Sullivan.
He had very little margin of error there to work with screwing that back. But that can always happen.
One.
No easy pot on, but the way the reds are situated down this end near the black, if Ronnie was to play a snooker, I'm sure Steve would find an angle to get to those reds. So he's taking the brown on.
1, Ronnie O'Sullivan.
But that's another lapse.
Yes, and he just got a little bit annoyed with himself there, so Steve Davis will be taking that all in. To make 2 century breaks, I suppose he is a little bit disappointed at missing a few pots.
1.
But this could be a great chance for Steve to open the pink and black up and a few reds with it. I think he's got an angle to be able to pot the brown, avoid
Brown ball.
cannoning onto the blue. So if this works out, surprised he played it at that pace. I thought he would have just forced it a little bit into the reds.
Five, Steve Davis.
Well, I'm not absolutely sure what Ronnie played then. Whether he played to just clip it very fine and just take the cue ball a few feet away, we'll never know, but the red just above the black will go. Well, I think Steve hoped to be on the black. Pink will go to the middle, but I don't think Steve will take it on. 13 points in front.
Pink ball. One, Steve Davis.
This frame just over 17 minutes long. First two frames only lasted 18 minutes. I think this type of frame has just come at the right time for Steve Davis, just to settle things down. Very low scoring frame, but it's important that Steve takes it.
Ronnie can pot the red that's between black and pink, but I think electing to bring this red out off the cushion, screw back for safety.
There's one possible shot that Steve could take on, the one, well, in fact, not that red, possibly the one that's next to the black, and come round those angles.
Well, Ronnie had the same shot on virtually with a much bigger target to hide the cue ball behind. Black, brown and green. Played it very badly. Has left an easy red, and Ronnie, having been so calm and cool in the first two frames, didn't look as if he had a care in the world. Now a little bit agitated. A long way to go. Best of 19. He's going to play a few bad shots along the way.
A little glance at the scoreboard. Just working out which colour to play for. You'd think he could get onto the black. It would help to bring it back up on spot, but he doesn't have to do that.
1.
He's still got the pink available, so he can get nicely up to the reds off the brown.
Five. 6.
He's going to need both reds. So that one on the top cushion might just be a slight problem.
12.
He's only going to need
13.
the red, though. He won't have to play a position for a colour, so he wants to get fairly close to that red to make the pot a little bit easier along the cushion.
Well, he just needs the red. It's a tricky little shot. He would have preferred to have been a little straighter so that he just rolled it in. He only needs the red. But from an angle, these are missable, particularly if you play them quickly at any pace. I just thought for a moment it was staying out. Sigh of relief, I'm sure, by Steve. So the cool head of the former
26.
world champion 6 times paying off in this third frame, having withstood the onslaught of the first two.
28. 31. 35. 40. 46. And the frame.
So a very cool, efficient 46 break from Steve Davis. Stops the rot. He's still 2 behind, though, at 2-1 to Ronnie O'Sullivan. And this is all the makings of a classic match, as I said at the start. The contrast in styles between the two. Ronnie, all agitated, all quick, great scorer. Steve Davis, of course, has seen it all, been in many finals. They've only played each other 3 times. As you see, Ronnie has won 2 out of the 3. Ronnie beat him 9-6 in the UK Championship back in '93, and 5-3 in a ranking tournament in '93, the European Open. Davis has only beaten him once in '94, so they've not played each other for a while, and I think that is probably due, Dennis, to the fact that Steve hasn't really been getting to the latter stages of the tournament as Ronnie has.
Absolutely, Ray, but isn't he delighted to be out here in the final of the Benson Hedges? And I think he'll relish the fact he's playing Ronnie O'Sullivan, and also the fact that Ronnie made the 2 century breaks. That'll charge him up, and that was just the type of frame that Steve wanted there, just a slower type frame with the balls getting tied up. And there's the breaks that Steve has made, very consistent. 12 breaks over 30, 5 breaks over 50. He's looking forward to this one.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Quiet, please. Thank you. The 4th frame, Steve Davis to break.
Session interval coming up after this one, as ever. And I think it's important for Ronnie that he doesn't make casual mistakes. He did that twice in the last frame. They're the ones that you tend to remember when you've had good chances.
Well, as you can see, there's a red into the left middle pocket, but I don't think Steve will be taking that one on. Keep it tight. And I think that red that Ronnie did miss, the very easy red into the middle pocket in the previous frame, it just shows you that the game of snooker is so difficult. He makes it look ridiculously easy, but if you don't concentrate, you can miss the easiest of pots.
One.
Well, obviously those misses haven't affected Ronnie's self-confidence. Great pot, that one, to get in.
Six. Seven.
As you can see, the pink and black tied up. Ronnie might take the opportunity to do something about that here. He's got a few loose reds he can play for. It'll be interesting to see how he goes about this.
$12. $13.
Well, the pink is available in the left middle. And that's a careless one.
13.
Very
Ronnie
careless
O'Sullivan.
from Ronnie. He won't be happy with that.
I think the red will go past the pink. Probably have to bring the cue ball round the back of the reds near the black there.
One.
Well, again, it's a thinnish cut on the pink, so he might take a chance on disturbing something. It isn't normally Steve's way. If there is a red out in the open, he'll play for it.
One, Steve Davis.
I think Steve was concentrating so much on getting the cannon into the reds and black. He forgot to pot the pink, but it's perfectly safe.
Ronnie can just hit the left-hand edge.
There's a possible shot back down the table for Steve if he can get enough side on the ball. Got a few options, but that's one. I would take the cue ball back to the balk area. Well, he's gone a similar path, but off one of the other reds. He was so close to potting that, and he's having an anxious look, is Ronnie, to see if Steve can get through to the red, and there might just be enough room. You've got a perfect picture there of it.
One.
a lot of space. There seems to be on your screen between the four colours on the spots, but by the time you put the width of the white ball in there, there's not a lot to spare. Just catching the yellow has prevented Steve having an easy pot. He can still cut this one into the corner.
Seven. Seven, Steve Davis. Foul 4, Steve Davis.
No miss called, but it's amazing, Ray. A couple of seasons ago, the referee would have to have called a miss, and, you know, it used to be ridiculous, really, because he's played that to perfection. But the ruling used to be if there was an easier red to hit and you left things safe. They always used to put it back, didn't they?
Well, the guidelines were tightened, Dennis, but at the end of it, it was always due to the discretion of the referee. But I think it works very well now. The players pretty well know the attitudes of the referees, and I think the game's better for it.
Yes, I would agree with you 100% there.
One.
I think Steve's just about got enough angle on the pink to roll down for the red to the left. Not quite as straightforward as it might be, because the black's tied up. The pink might not be available in all pockets.
Seven.
Well, looking at that picture, there is only the one red on. He can just get through to the one that's nearly straight, I think. Shaking his head. So he might just have to use a little bit of side to manufacture the angle.
So looking at it, he might be able to just pop the red and run through and just lean on the red there, just to the right of the pink on your screen. I would leave the pink on into the middle pocket. But he's giving it plenty of thought.
Eight.
Doesn't doesn't really matter the fact that the black is tied up, the pink's available, and this is a very good opportunity for Steve.
I think the fact that Steve Davis was rated the underdog
21
in this match by the bookmakers, Ronnie's 7-2 on, might have helped him in his attitude. For so many years he was the hot favourite, expected to do it all the time, and sometimes when you're the underdog there's not quite the pressure on you.
22.
And after the onslaught of the first two, he's done well to maintain his concentration and of course his vast experience helped him in that. He knew he would get chances, had to be patient. And that one's gone wrong.
26.
Just as he was getting into the position, he's 25 points in front.
Well, Ray, just a little indication there, Steve. I watched him just point his finger at the table. It's as if the white drifted to the right towards the blue. I just have that checked at the interval.
$26, Steve Davis.
Yeah, just taking that point though, Dennis, I think it's perhaps more a bit of chalk or finger mark on the cloth that would affect it in the middle of the table. But he left the gap there for Ronnie to get through to the red. Now, does he go in behind the green? He does, and it's Steve now.
Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Who's got to find the right route to avoid leaving Ronnie a chance.
Well, it's a very difficult one for Steve to... He'd like to be able to play onto the red that's next to the black, but there's no easy path through to that, and if he plays for one of the loose reds, he'd leave one on if he made contact with one of those. So he'll have to give this quite some thought.
Yeah, a little ironic. I think the path through to that red, Dennis, off two side cushions, it might be another red that's in the way. So it's not the problem hitting a red, it's perhaps more of hitting the one he wants to.
Yeah, the sort of natural path through to that red that's near the black is blocked. And that's a little sort of indication of where Steve would like to sort of go twice across the table to get to the red that's near the black, but it's not on.
Foul 4, Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Can't get through direct to the red, but not a problem off the cushion, but he'll probably be trying to catch it on the far side and take the cue ball away down towards the brown and green. But he's hit it far too thick, and you heard Steve groan.
One.
Ronnie immediately playing for the more difficult of the three reds.
9.
It looked
15.
as if Steve Davis had a chance to go 2 each at the interval. Ronnie'd have to make a careless mistake to leave him back in. Steve knows that only too well.
$16. $22.
This is the kind of frame I think that Ronnie has got to win, because there'll be a few of these playing against Steve. We know he can win when he makes centuries. They all can, but position on the yellow here vital. Could be much better.
$31.
Going to need the blue as well here.
34. $38. $43.
So just one slight error towards the end of that frame by Steve.
49.
Gave Ronnie the chance. He'd gone off the boil a little. But that 49 break
49.
takes him to the mid-test interval with a 3 frames to 1 lead. So just the statistics of the first 4 frames. Ronnie heavily outscoring Steve, but the table time perhaps a little interesting, in as much as Steve has had much more than half the time, and considering he didn't get a shot in the first 2 frames virtually, the difference in pace round the table showing. But nevertheless, Ronnie O'Sullivan is looking in a pretty good frame of mind, and well, he's well on the way to perhaps taking this title.
Oh, Ray Evans sticking his neck out a bit there. 3-1, well on the way. My goodness, that's a forecast and a half. I don't think I might agree with that. What were you, John Virgo? That's a long time ago yet.
Well, yeah, it was a great 4 frames. The first 2, Ronnie really played well. Steve had a good chance there to make it 2 each. I think it's all to play for. I think the interesting statistic for me there was that Steve, 84% of safety successes. I think he needs to be in the 90s, really, to keep Ronnie at bay. But yeah, it was good 4 frames.
I was talking to Ronnie last night about it. I said, will the effect that Davis is capable of slowing it all down and going on for a marathon, would that affect the way that Ronnie played? And Ronnie was pretty non-committal. He said, well, I don't think so. But I mean, can that have a bearing?
Well, not really. I think Ronnie is at the stage at the moment. I think he's a better player this season. His all-round game is a lot better. He's played some good safety. And I think it's a challenge when he's playing Steve to try and compete with the safety. And I think Steve has just got to make it a little bit more difficult for Ronnie to reply in the safety exchanges to create chances for himself.
Thanks, John. So.